Welcome to One Image Many Words Photography in Coaching and Personal Development. This lecture is an introduction to photography in coaching. You will learn what is photography in coaching, how you can evoke transformation through the conversations that are inspired by clients' personal photos, and main techniques that are involving photography in my coaching practice. Personal photos give us places to start when we want to understand various aspects of ourselves. One image can open a very long story. There is always a lot to tell about a most important photo. The one that you can have at home, at your desk, in a family album. Also, photography in coaching has started with one very special photograph. Let me share this story with you. My story with One Image Many Words began in 2007 with one photo, a portrait of an unknown woman called Zosia. This photo helped me to discover the story of my family and meet people in various countries who told me about my ancestors. This one photo of a woman was like a password or a magic key to the door. When I was showing this photo to someone, to people whom I never met before, they were becoming immediately trustful and ready to share their personal stories with me. This photo of Zosia and other old photos were like bridges between me and other people. I learned about the fascinating power of photography in human connections and in the self-discovery. Photography is often seen as art, but photography is also a communication. Photography is a way to communicate, and today we communicate and exchange a lot through the means of photography. We show our personal life to others in our photos. We use photographs to evoke emotions. We use photos to engage others. Even by sending a simple photo from a daily life, a photo from home or work, a snapshot from a trip, we immediately engage our friends or family in our situations, emotions, inspirations. So photography is a powerful language, and it helps us to communicate about ourselves, about our life, and about the world. So what is the power of photography? Well, first of all, photos are valuable for people. They represent material traces of our existence. Second, photos raise emotions and engage us in the interaction. We show the photos to the others, we like them, we dislike, we show what was inspiring to us, or where we have been, or whom we met, what we went through. The third is that photos provide a lot of material for thinking, and they stimulate thinking. Fourth is that photos trigger long-term memory and reflection. And finally, photos are a great catalyst for communication. They make people open up, they support verbal expression. There are many ways we can use photography in developmental work and in personal care. We can use existing photos as images that represent various aspects of ourselves, such as our beliefs, strengths, values, basically elements of our identity. the way we perceive ourselves, who we are, what is important to us in our life, etc. And we can do it by choosing our own personal photos, or we can do it by choosing the ones from a collection of pictures. An existing collection, a collection that belongs to a coach, to a trainer. And also we can take photos during a coaching process or any other developmental activity. So these are two ways of using photos. We could say kind of a passive photography, when we use existing photos and photos become objects that take us to our internal worlds, to our memories, perceptions, emotions, feelings, and they help us to raise self-awareness. Or something that we could call an active photography, when taking photos is a process, and that the process supports the thinking and in fact enables becoming a change. So let's first talk about using existing personal photos. Photographs have a unique value in our lives because we are documenting our lives with photos. Various moments of our personal glory, life-changing moments, important events, personal changes, like I climbed to the top of a mountain or I lost 5 kilos. We usually take photos during those moments. So all the achievements as well as relationships that are important to us, we memorize them in our photos. And underneath are our values, our needs, our dreams, but also our strengths and also life lessons. Like on the photograph on the right that I have entitled 4 Generations, you can see a family. You can see a gentle light, a gentle touch, and a gentle moment. You could see love, sensibility, and human connection. Several things in this photo that you might connect to as well. And this is an example of an important photo that probably is a reminder of a very important moment. Just think about a chance to take such a family photo with 4 generations, because the photographer is the 3rd generation. In this case it was me, and in this photo you can see my grandfather, my mother, me being a photographer, and my son. And there is almost 100 years between the birth of the oldest and the youngest family member. And you could ask me what is important in this photo for me. Well, several elements. The fact of having the family and my close relatives so close to each other and love each other. The fact that I have a family where all this generation had a chance to meet, which makes me feel unique. My strength, which is courage, openness to take such a photo in this intimate moment. And several other elements. So in coaching, we can use photos as personal records of life achievements and character strengths, such as courage, wisdom, humanity that is presented through love and kindness, Also spirituality, that is present through love for beauty, appreciation of beauty and nature, hope, gratitude. Also fairness, that is connected also to leadership and the way we treat others, and much more. So looking at our pictures, family albums, photos on the wall that we have at home, for instance, we can feel valuable and proud, unique, positive and grateful for memories that uplift the spirit. And we can realize what possibilities we have in us. These photos also help us to build self-confidence, a sense of abundance and resourcefulness from within. Also to develop a sense of agency and the state of mind of being fully responsible for yourself and for your life. Once you understand the strengths you have, the abilities you have, skills, and this is all based on what you've done in the past and what you inherited also from your ancestors. This feeling of abundance develops, and you can work around this question how you can use that knowledge and these strengths for you now and for your future. Photos also help us to understand our life motives and our deep needs, what really matters. And finally, they help us to understand and express how we feel and what we think. When you look at this example on the right, you can see how photos help someone to describe strengths. Just let's have an example of this photo on the left up. It's about flexibility. I'm not stuck. I can move from one point to another. A photo of a bird flying. So, as Judy Weiser wrote in her book, photographs are footprints of our minds, mirrors of our lives, reflections from our hearts, frozen memories that we can hold in silent stillness in our hands, forever if we wish. Let's have a look at examples from coaching practice. The first example is from a coaching session and process on self-fulfillment. You can see a photo that my client used as a profile photo on Facebook. And it was explored during our session in order to help her to better understand her needs and her values, and based on that, also the decisions that were best for her in the future. So my first question to her was, what is important in this photo to you? And she answered that I'm driving a car alone on my own. And then she added also that I drive with a speed that I want, that I'm dressed as I want to be dressed, and that I'm simply alone, independent. So not always you will see what is important in the photo in its visual layer, but the person will tell you, and it is usually very unique and personal. A photo that is your important photo is a guide to your inner world. And this photo, especially the profile photo, helped the client to understand the importance of independence in her life and future choices about her career. So a profile photo can help someone to become aware of their deepest needs and values. That's very much true. The coaching is about deep listening, but photography helps to say from the depth of being. Another example is from a life coaching process with a woman who just was going to be 40, and she wanted to understand what to leave behind and what to take with her, as she said. And she said also that she wanted to explore her life and choices without setting precisely the topic for her coaching process. And she added, but I definitely want to meet the woman in me. I definitely want to meet the woman in me. So I suggested that she brings 10 most important photos from her life in order to let her hear her voice and her story. And during our work, she admitted that people from her family and work used to comment several of her life choices in a way that she was feeling less confident and valuable. And these comments were mostly about her choice to live with a man without marriage and not to have a child. During the coaching process, she needed to ground herself in her self-esteem, I would say that way. And she finished our sessions with kind of a mantra, I know the woman in me, that she wanted to repeat in her mind every time she hears others' comments, negative comments. So just going through 10 most important photos and seeing her own biography from the childhood till the moment when we met, actually, she could see her life motives and she could see her important moments, how these moments influence her choices in life, and that helped her to be grounded and to be more confident about these choices she made in the past. So she analyzed again and again what were her reasons to do this or that. And this is another important aspect of photography in coaching, that it helps to see from a time perspective. We can see our life, our decisions, our story from a time perspective. And this is a perspective of growth and lasting. And another example of a client who wanted to decide about her new career. She was going to retire soon. She was 60. And she had two options to explore for her future engagement. One, to continue teaching, but part-time, she was a teacher. And second, to engage in social activities in her town. Her topic was, I want to do things that bring me fun and satisfaction, but at the same time, I want them to be in line with my values. During our session, she explored photos from her trips that she had chosen and brought to the session, because these were the photos she chose for the session to explore what brings her fun and satisfaction. And the words that came to her mind were friendship, meditation, projects, novelties. These are the words that are written on the big white paper, sheets of paper. And finally she said that human connections and challenges are most meeting her needs, and she decided for social engagement based on that insight that what matters most is human connections and challenges. So, working with photography is really bringing something to the awareness, from the unspoken to the told. And that provides with clarity, and once we have this clarity, it triggers energy for change. We start believing and being more confident about what we think. And let us move to using photos from a ready collection of pictures. And we will talk about photos used as metaphors, visual metaphors. Photography is a visual language, and it's a very picturesque and intuitive language at the same time. And this language, we can use it in our dialogues to describe feelings, emotions, thoughts that are abstract. Because feelings, emotions, they are abstract, and it is sometimes difficult to put them in words. So we can find pictures to illustrate them. And once they are visualized and we can see them in front of our eyes, it becomes easier to talk about them. And definitely there is a power in clear seeing. Once we can name our internal reality and gain more clarity about it, we also get a chance to accept it, to transform it, in order to feel better, or to feel released, more quiet, happier, or simply ready to act. Let's have a look at an example. This example is from a woman who chose a photo of dandelions to illustrate who she wants to be and how she wants to feel in relationships. And she said, it's a quotation from her, "It shows me as a woman I want to be in relationships. I want to be strong and resist the words." It is a beautiful, picturesque metaphor, and it is also very exact. Dandelions on her photo are delicate, but at the same time they can resist the wind. And words can be like a wind that blows. And she wants to resist to the words, not be blown away. So you can see how we can find exact pictures to explain what we feel and what we need, or what we want, and how we understand the complex things like our emotions, wishes, needs. Metaphors help us to put things into words. And when we can put things into words, when we can share our stories with others, and when we are being listened, we get closer to ourselves and to the understanding of who we are and what we want. It becomes then easier to define the objective of a personal change and to work on it. So photos will help us to understand ourselves. Working with images is a way of accessing a rich store of meanings that the human mind typically locks up in pithy phrases or sentences. And now let's talk about photos that are taken during coaching. So, the process of photography in coaching. Photography in coaching is not only about using existing photos. It is also about techniques that support coaching, as well as activities that help to visualize and to express insights. So taking photos can be used as a mindfulness practice, a daily routine, or kind of a diary. And these are the techniques that support life coaching, and kind of a self-reflection that is quite required in life coaching. Taking photos can be used also to document a change process. It is also about going around taking pictures and looking for images as ideas, representation of ideas. Now let's have a look at some examples. You can see here a couple of photos taken during morning walks outside. The goal of the client was to raise her life energy, physical energy, mental energy, and also spiritual energy. The activities included three things. First of all, going out. Every morning going out in order to raise energy, motivation, and over a period of time to stabilize her mental health. Then, noticing beauty around. So her task every morning when she went out was to notice beauty around. And that was in order to uplift the spirit, to feel more hope, to have more positive attitude and more curiosity. And that helped also to raise the mental energy. And the task number 3 was to take a photo. Every morning, going outside, noticing beauty and taking photos. Taking photos of what was inspiring around. And that's about creating something tangible and getting a sense of achievement, especially that over a period of time, she created a whole photo album. In that example, the client discovered that she was able to influence her health and energy, that she was able to set her goals and to follow them through. And she changed the way she perceived her personal power. One day she told me, I couldn't imagine not going out in the morning because it makes me feel happy. It is such an inspiring beginning of the day. Another example is from a client who wanted to return to work, but she was so busy at home that she could never find a quiet time for herself to start looking for a job or even to think about what she wanted to do in her life. She said to me, well, I'm always nervous and I'm always in a hurry. I can't concentrate. I can't even notice how time flies by. As a coach, I could clearly hear that time was an issue and that she needed to increase her abilities to concentrate and to follow through things. So first I proposed her to observe time. Was an activity, observe time. And that included just observing time, being mindful about time, documenting a change process by taking photos of new plants that she put in her room and also served up for the bread. That was her idea. And third, taking notes about the process. So she was proposed to observe time, document a change over a period of time, and take notes in her diary. So photography was used as a way to document the change process. After 3 weeks, she told me, I learned that I can follow through my goals. I learned that I can concentrate on them and achieve what I want. So her self-perception changed completely because she experienced that ability. And this gave her motivation to plan and to execute some daily activities that were related to her job. After that session, we just simply made a plan for her and a daily schedule where every day she had some 2-3 hours dedicated to her personal development and finding new job. And let's have one more example. The goals of the coaching process in this example were related to self-care, lifestyle, and self-acceptance. Photos were taken at the end of the session in order to celebrate it and to support self-acceptance. At the end of each session, the client was deciding about what photos to take. One day she wanted her to photograph her hands, another day feet, hair. And I was taking these photos in a very gentle way, only fragments of the body. So the activities with photography included choosing a fragment of the body to be photographed at the end of the session that was dedicated to self-care, self-acceptance, etc. Then sending these photos to the client and printing them for the next session. And the last example, photography as a way to find new ideas, to find inspirations for change, and to discover a new perspective during a coaching session, or sometimes in between two sessions. This photo that you can see on the right was taken during a walk when I searched for a new idea about how to stop constantly doing the to-do list and become kind of relaxed every moment when pressure was getting higher. So instead of increasing my speed and continuing to work under the pressure, I wanted to be able to slow down and to focus on one thing at a time. And I was looking for a visual inspiration for that. I needed to work more on priorities, simply. And this frame of the sky above the building with rows of windows gave me that answer. I went for a walk, and when I saw that frame, I had my aha moment, and I took that photo as a reminder of what to do. And I even wrote to myself, don't look down at the papers. Raise the head to see the sky. The answer is there, in the breath, space, and silence. And this one single dream to do one thing at a time. So this photo is a visualization of doing one thing at a time. So I sometimes really encourage clients to take photos to relate to the topic of their personal goal. At the end of the day, I think that we are all photographers. What is important is that photography doesn't create any barriers, almost. We have all our smartphones that are always available in our pockets, and taking photos is really free. So what is photography in coaching? In an easy, spontaneous way, I would say these are various explorations with the use of photos or photo taking that are combined with powerful coaching questions, expressive writing, body-mind techniques, and other creative techniques. But I have also created a term of photography in coaching that refers to the use of photography in a liberating, creative, and non-judgmental manner, which initiates, facilitates, and enriches the exploration, understanding, and expression of the self. This is a definition that I included to my book, and I think it's a still very valid kind of a definition. And what are the key processes with photography in coaching? These are exactly 6 processes that you're going to learn in the training. Most important photo, profile photo, life photo album, self-portrait in the future, photo poem, and photo of a relationship. So these 6 modules of the training reflect the 6 processes or techniques that I have developed in coaching. And you will learn them soon. Just to finish this lecture, I would like to read a short excerpt from my book that summarizes in a way what we've covered here. The image is an essential element of how we experience, of how I experience the world. From birth onwards, I see and observe the world. When a child is young, as 1 year, 1.5, 2, he or she begins to draw, using drawing as a form of expression, creating, composing answers with lines, circles, triangles, tangled lines, printing his or her own thoughts, reactions, observations. And parents show their children pictures, book, or family albums. They take picture of a child on occasions, both minor and major, the fleeting highs of family life, each new step the child takes, accomplishments, amusing situations. This is how memories are made. Until the day this child, sitting with his friends from school or with his or her own children, takes out an album, opens up a folder of pictures on a computer, and begins to remember a multitude of little stories and events, and the legend is born and becomes someone with a history, a prankster, a hero of a certain tale. An album is a form of proof, and the moment any self-doubt begins to set in, these photographs are a reminder of what that he lived through, what was created in the past, and the path that was traveled. Possibly, it can play a part in raising someone up after a fall, or to make the decision to change one's life, or simply to share this valuable souvenir with one's grandchildren. Well, thank you for listening. I'm very happy that you joined the One Image Many Words course. And soon, we will experience this together. And now, sit comfortably, quietly. Close your eyes and think about how photography is present in your life.